What's up, everybody? It's John with John Sports Arts and Collectibles coming at you with a brand new video. How's everyone doing out there today in the YouTube universe? Got something I want to talk about here today. Brought this up in the last opinion piece editorial video that I put out. And just like a little bit of legalese here. All this information I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. It's all public information, all factual-based information. Just want to get that one out of the way. And these opinions are my opinions, and the things I'm bringing up, the things I'm going to be showing you are out there publicly. It's public information. So I've been covering this, made 4 videos on this? 3 videos, 4 videos. I can't even remember. About the shield bidding story scenario that we've all been talking about for the last few weeks. But something I wanted to bring up first before I get into this whole thing about regulation, SROs. 2 things. One thing is, I love how, just remember it here, remember folks, that like when I talk about some of these subjects, sometimes you hear it here first, and then other people follow suit. And, I usually give credit to people when or when I'm covering something that they or have already discussed that I'm talking about. And it never seems to be the reverse. So like Professor Sports Card here puts out this video. First of all, Professor, you got to do some spell checking on your thumbnail because you made a major blunder there. Regulate, spelled it wrong. Sorry, I got to point it out. But he talks about regulation is needed, but I've been talking about this for well over a year. And I just, I guess I'm like the Rodney Dangerfield of the card industry. Get zero respect here. But let's click out of that. But I'm going to continue to talk about Professor Sports Card, not in a bad way, but he did miss something here. Before I get in this whole thing about SROs, and let's see if it's on here so I can put it on the screen, and might just have to click into it and show you. Let's click into this and then I'll show you right here. Let's just pause this so it doesn't play. But we want to see the transcript here of this if it comes up. Let's put the closed captions on and let's let this play for a second. I'm not sure if the sound's coming through on your end for those who are listening to it, but I'm going to pause this when it comes up to, because I found this in these outtakes, the Professor Sports Card. Here it is. There. I found this in the outtakes of the Professor Sports Card interview with Dr. James Beckett. And I'm not here to pick on Dr. Beckett. I know I've really gone hard at him. I don't know him. He is a part of the trading card space history. He's considered legendary in some people's eyes. But I heard this in these outtakes, and I will say that I was a little bit shocked. Maybe not surprised, though, in the back of my head after I heard this. And this isn't the first time that this has happened. And he says here in these outtakes, I'm a customer. He's talking about Beckett, grading. I'm a customer. I submit cards to BGS. I mean, that's like a major conflict of interest. That's extremely unethical. I know that, Nat Turner, who owns PSA, gets his own cards graded through his own company that he owns. Beckett doesn't own the company anymore. It's just a major conflict of interest here. I don't understand how this kind of thing isn't talked about more. I mean, you're looking at like someone like Beckett, Turner. I mean, favoritism. There's no question that would be happening. And, people will argue, well, they're getting their cards graded for their collections and so on and so forth. We don't know that because I don't think there's any transparency about what happens once those cards get graded by Turner. And now we're finding out, or I'm hearing this, I don't know if anybody caught this, that Beckett sends his cards to the former company that he used to own, that he sold. He's a customer there. I mean, if that doesn't throw up a red flag to, and make people like go, wait a second here, then I don't know what else to tell you. Then turn this video off and go on to something else, because the next topic I'm talking about here is the main topic, and that's having an SRO put in this space. Basically regulation, non-governmental, not a self-policing, but like a real organized group with a law firm, attorneys representing the group. Okay, so we're going to go into this and what positive aspects are, and there will probably be some pushback with this too. But I wanted to point out this thing about Beckett, and it's just like again, I'm not trying to pick on the guy, but it's just like I would just, if I was him, I would be extremely careful what I say. It's not a good look. It does not look good. It's just, but it doesn't surprise me because this whole industry is just so corrupt. And, next month there'll be something else. This month it's the shilling thing. Like I said, next month will be something else. And no one does anything about it. They just talk. Everyone just talks and talks and talks and talks. And plays the what if game. But nobody gets off their asses and goes to do anything. Now, maybe somebody will get off their butts and go do what I'm talking about here. And that is this. I've talked about this in the last video. I stated before, and I will stand by this, and I'll state it again. There needs to be an SRO created, a self-regulatory organization. And this would benefit the trading card industry by creating and enforcing industry-specific rules for fair and ethical practices, which could lead to greater market stability, a reduction in fraud, and an increase in consumer trust. If you are a new person coming into this space and you just start to really do some research and you see all the scandalous things that have gone on this last year and just most recently, and you have a level head on your shoulders, you will get as far away from this as you possibly can. Because who in their right mind would want to come into this space, and dive in feet first, knowing all this insanity that's been going on? Let me continue here. This would provide consistent standards, streamline dispute resolution, and potentially make the industry more attractive to a broader range of investors, notes Alton and Verenium Next Gen FinTech Fund. You guys can put this in your search engine and go look this up yourself if you want to find out what that's all about. Benefits of an SRO for the trading card industry. Increased trust and confidence. An SRO would establish clear rules for conduct and ethics, which would reassure consumers and investors that the market is more secure and less prone to scams and manipulation. Standardization. It would create consistent standards across the industry for issues like grading, authentication, and the conduct of dealers, reducing ambiguity, excuse me, I'm not making fun of this, and unfair practices. Improved dispute resolution. An SRO could provide a more efficient and cost-effective process for settling disputes between collectors, dealers, and auction houses than through traditional legal channels. Enhanced market stability. By setting standards and overseeing practices, an SRO could help prevent market volatility and protect against fraudulent activities that could destabilize the market. We see a ton of fraud going on all the time. It could attract a new investment. With a more regulated and stable environment, the industry could become more appealing to institutional investors and those seeking to invest in alternative assets, similar to how SROs have helped securities markets. It would also draw in people just in general to this hobby if they felt like they could trust every aspect of it. Because right now, if I was coming into this, like I said, and I heard about the scandals with like the shill bidding with the auction houses, I would be like, okay, that's not good. And if I found out about all the scandalous crap that goes on with the breakers, I'd be like, oh crap, that's not good. If I found out that loaded boxes were given to influencers and everybody else got shafted by the trading card companies, I go, oh crap, why am I going to put my money into that if I'm going to get hosed? Let's continue here. Streamline regulation. An SRO could work with government regulators to provide industry-specific guidance, which can be more practical and flexible than government mandates alone. So you'd work alongside the government if needed. More efficient operations. Similar to how SROs in the securities markets have implemented automated systems for order execution and informational dissemination. A trading card SRO could adopt technology to increase efficiency in areas like authentication and tracking. And you can go deeper into this, but I'm not going to. So I think there would be pushback on this kind of thing. I think that, the people that would push back on this, you would have to, like I said in the last video, you'd have to really question their moral and ethical compass. I imagine you would get pushback from people like breakers, for example, because they would not be able to do any of their nonsense anymore. You might get some pushback from auction houses, and you might get some pushback from the trading card companies. But in reality, they should want to, I would think they would want to be members of this, not obviously in charge of this, because that would be a major conflict of interest. But I think it would be an attractive thing if they were supportive of an SRO. And I'm not talking going into these people's offices and kicking in their doors and going through their files. I think just a general, set of guidelines and rules and regulations should be put in place in order to have it be a level playing field and a fair situation for everybody that's currently in this space, and not just giving favoritism to the small percentage of people that are kind of controlling and doing market manipulation here. Giving people opportunities, changing maybe the pricing structure on some of these items. I mean, some of these things are ridiculous, and then again, the grading card companies having transparency there, because I mean, you don't know why the outcome was for most of the time for the grades on your cards. Like if you send a card in that you think is a 10 and you've gone over it and there's no flaws with it and the centering is awesome and everything looks perfect on the damn thing, and then it comes back a 9. Well, why did that happen? And a lot of times it's never explained. You're just given this and that's it, you're done. And you can't even really contact the grading card companies that do this kind of thing, make a mistake perhaps, but you never can get anywhere. They never say, you know what, you're absolutely right, this was a 10, we made a mistake. I've tried myself, it doesn't happen. But I mean, this kind of organization would, I would think, give more transparency. You would hope that the trading card companies would want to be a part of this thing. Overall, it would be a good look for everybody to be involved in this as far as being members, and that's how this kind of thing would be driven financially in order to offset costs and pay people and everything else, because it would look good to the general consumer, the customer. Hey, wow, Fanatics is involved with this, they're a member, Panini's a member, Upper Deck's a member, Leaf's a member, all the grading card companies, they're all members of this. The auction houses are. Everybody wants to be above board, on the level. And it would just create confidence within the marketplace with customers. And businesses too, the small businesses too. If they knew that they were being protected too, the smaller shops and even like the Burbanks of the world and the Cards HQs of the world. Now, they wouldn't have any stake in the rules and regulations of this kind of thing. That would be, like I said, a major conflict. And who would be involved in that element of it? A board made up of people within this space, but knowledgeable individuals. Nobody that has any ties to these kind of companies in any way, shape, or form as far as like insiders. There would have to probably be some collectors that are also attorneys. That would be a positive thing. And then there would have to be a law firm that would have to represent the organization in general. And then there would be the enforcement. So, if any members break any of these rules or regulations that are set in place, well, to figure out what the consequences for that would be. But I think it's time that we do something, because this self-policing isn't doing anything. Because we just keep seeing scandal after scandal after scandal every single month. Every single month. Think about that. I come from a background where I was, in the entertainment industry, and I would see scandalous things, but I'm nowhere near the level that I see in this space. Nowhere near it at all. There might be some deals cut behind the scenes, some minor favoritism that was going on in that world that I was in for a very long period of time. But I never saw any sign. You'd see maybe one scandal a year. Maybe even none on the business side. This, every single month, it's something. And like I said, there'll be more coming up down the road. There'll be something that'll happen in December of 2025, and there'll be something that'll happen in January, February, March of next year. Some bullshit, and everyone will just talk about it, and they'll talk about it, and no one will do a damn thing about it. So I say that something like this needs to be created. It's a monumentous task. Let's just put it that way. It's a big endeavor, this kind of thing. And a lot of people, it's too much for them. And there are probably going to be people that are collectors that are against this. And you're like thinking, well, why the hell would you want to be against this? Because this protects you. But in my opinion, anybody that's against this kind of thing is probably, I would hate to say it, up to no good. Okay? This last video that I put out where I started talking about this had like 8 thumbs down or something like that. It was ridiculous. And a few of those I imagine are the trolls who just can't get enough of just trying to just, have hatred come my way. But then I imagine there were some other people that were like, they don't like this. They think it's bad. It's bad. So let me know your thoughts about this. And really, that's it. Let's see what happens here with this. Hint, hint. Okay, that's all I've got for you guys today. I greatly appreciate you being here today, checking this one out. If you're new here and you like what you see and hear here, please hit that subscribe button. Please comment down below. Please share this video with everybody out there in the car community. Please give this video a thumbs up. Remember the eBay store links down below in the description. That's all I've got for you guys today. More videos on the way coming up soon, so stick around for those. Appreciate you being here, though. Thanks again for watching, everybody. This is John with John Sports Odds and Collectibles signing off, and I'll see everybody very, very soon. Take care.